have a very special guest with me today, my grandmother-in-law, who just turned 87. So we're going to be going through 20 different movements. Each movement we're going to do for about 40 seconds. Then we'll have about 20
Allysa
seconds
Kuhn,
in between, so I can explain the next movement. We are going to go
very
ahead and
good
get started in about
coach
15
for
seconds.
disabled
We
people
don't
or
need any equipment,
older
we just
people,
need some space.
for
So
the
go ahead
elderly.
and get set. We're going to start with our very first movement by alternating one heel up and then here in 3, 2, here we go. So all you're doing is just working for your weight shifting by lifting one heel and then the other. Your knee can bend slightly. When it comes to walking, getting comfortable
21 minutes
is
workout.
incredibly important. Now in this instance, both feet are on the floor. But you're starting to
I have a TV set on the left side, and this is program from YouTube,
10 seconds left here.
from YouTube channel.
3, 2, and last one. Rest for about 20 seconds. For this next movement, all you're going to do is step one way and then step the other. This is going to be more of a warm-up type movement. So the bigger step you take, the harder this will be. Keep your steps narrower if you need to. Ready? 2, 1, here we go. Once you get comfortable with this movement, you can also start to increase the speed. Moving sideways is important to work the muscles in your hips and also challenge balance, both of which forward walking may not necessarily do. So incorporating some side stepping can be very important to help build support for your entire hip and challenge that balance, especially if you're walking on uneven terrain or concentrating on something else. 3, 2, and rest. Excellent. For this next one, you're going to alternate tapping backwards. You can also step backwards if you don't feel comfortable tapping. Tapping will be the harder variation of this. 3, 2, here we go. So you're alternating stepping back or stepping back. I'll show you from the side. Again, the bigger step you take here, the harder this will become. You can also feel free to start increasing the speed once you feel comfortable. Excellent work. We're working the backs of your hips. Again, helpful to support your hips as you're walking. And mixing it up a little bit from forward walking. 10 seconds. 5, 3, 2, and 1. Excellent work. Now what we're going to do is stand on your right side, and you're going to step laterally with your left. Stand on the right, step to the side with your left. Now if you want to, you can add in an arm reach as well to get some movement there. We are going now. Stand on that right, and then step to the left. Excellent. You want to try to increase the size of the step on this once you start to feel comfortable.
I'm a quadriplegic, and for me it's good workout legs and hands in one time,
You're working on the balance of the leg that's not
like
moving.
this exercise.
5, and last one. So now for this next one, you're going to do the same thing but on the other side. So you're going to stand on the left, and then you're going to step. You can add the reach if you want to with the right. 10 seconds before we get started. 5, 3, 2, here we go. Stand on the left and then step and reach with the right. Think about almost pushing off the leg that's stationary. Start to maybe feel the muscles up in your hip, on the side, and then maybe behind your hip. Start to kick in a little bit. Try to keep your knee soft and relax. Try not to lock it out. We have 10 seconds here. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now we're going to do something similar, but instead of going sideways, we're going to go backwards. So I'm going to go back to standing on my right side.
I'm not doing it very exactly. I do it as I can.
Now, as I step backwards with the left, you can add a punch that goes out in front. Ready? Here we go. Stand on the right and then step back with the left, adding a punch. Adding these arm movements is going to bring in a little bit more of your core. Again, the stationary leg, I want you to think about almost pushing off that side and keep that knee bent slightly or relax. Try not to lock it out. You have 10 seconds here. On all of these, try not to hold your breath. And make sure that you keep breathing. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now we're going to switch to the other side. I'm going to stand on my left, step backward with the right, and you can add in that arm movement.
I have also a tablet.
The harder this will become.
Yeah.
You can also
And sometimes I exercise with program on this tablet.
4, 3, 2, here we go. Stand on the left, step backwards with the right. I'll show you from the side. You don't have to put your full foot down. You can if you need to. But I want you to focus on keeping the majority of your weight on this front leg. When you're walking, you're essentially shifting your weight one side to the other. These movements right here help to prepare your hip to handle that, especially if you have pain, either hip pain, knee pain, or back pain. And rest. Excellent work. If you need support for balance, absolutely grab that. Now what we're going to do is come back to this right side. You're going to step forward, side, and then backwards. So we're always going to meet in the middle and then step in these directions. Here we go. Forward, middle, side, middle, back, middle, forward,
Middle, back.
side, back. Knees are nice and relaxed.
Side,
Don't walk them out.
middle, back.
One thing is you want to try to keep your shoulders in line.
Forward,
You don't want a lot of side-to-side movement in those shoulders.
side,
We have about 10
back.
seconds left
It's
here.
good that I have my hand raised because I have a problem with balance. And
3,
that's why I do it, this exercise.
and last one. Now we're going to the other side. Same exact thing. Stand on the left side. You're going to step forward, sideways, and backwards. 10 seconds before we get started. 3, 2, here we go. Step forwards, middle, side, middle, back, middle. Forwards, middle, back, middle. Yes. The lighter you are on the split that you're stepping with, the harder this will become. If you need to offload some weight, you can take a bigger step and put more weight, essentially transfer more weight as you're stepping. To make this harder, here is tapping. 5 seconds. And rest. Excellent. Now we're going to move into a balance. You're going to essentially put
For
one foot in
elders, it's a
front
very
of the
good
other. So if you're
exercise.
not confident in balance, you can go into the corner of a
And
wall
for me
to
as well.
have support, or you
And
can
in
grab
the
support
middle,
with a chair
elders,
or
the
something
elders,
stable to your body.
others,
One foot in
and
front
the
of the other, and
disabled.
you're going to reach across your body. Here we go. It doesn't matter what foot orientation you have now, because in the next section we're going to switch. Having one foot directly in front of the other is going to be the hardest variation of this. If you want to, you can spread your feet so your feet are a little bit wider, giving you a wider base of support. Of course, balance plays a huge role when it comes to walking, especially when you're walking in unfamiliar places, walking in busy places, or of course uneven terrain. 5, 2, and 1. Excellent. So now what we're going to do is just switch your feet. So my right foot was in front, now I'm going to put my left foot in front. Get set. Before you start adding any movement, we're going less than 10 seconds. Same thing. Once you're set, you're going to reach across your body to add in a little bit more of a challenge. Here we go. Reach across. Again, adding in some of these arm movements also helps to bring in a little bit more core as well. The further you reach outside of your base of support, the harder this will be.
It's like boxing.
Essentially, if you were just reaching your elbows, that's going to be easier. The further you go, the harder it will be. We have about 15 seconds here. Last 10. 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. Now we are moving into, you're going to stand on your right side and tap your toes behind you. Now what you're going to do is lift that back foot, increase the speed if you need to increase the balance. If you want to increase the challenge, go ahead and try to hold it up there. Here we go. You can try to hold it for a second or two. Essentially what this is doing is now putting your full body weight on one leg for a brief period of time, which essentially is what walking does. So,
Nagrywam. I'm recording.
or if you need to only just lift it up a little bit, that's one way to make this a little bit easier. You can challenge yourself by holding it for a few seconds. I'll show you from this side. You have about 5 seconds left. And rest. So now we're doing the same thing with the other side. So now you're going to stand on the left and then tap those toes behind and lift that heel up for 40 seconds. We have less than 10 seconds. You can shake out whatever you need to. 3, 2, here we go. So lift that toe off the ground. Try to bring that heel closer to your bottom. Yes. So as she's doing, you can shift your weight back as you step back to give a little bit more stability. To make this more challenging,
I need more
you can just
stability.
take it into a light tap if you're there for single leg balance. Excellent work. 10 seconds. Balance is also a great core workout as well because you've got to keep everything stable to keep yourself upright. Okay. Now we're going back to standing on the right side, but this time you're going to take a big step forward and then a big step backwards, all in a continuous motion. We're going to go in 5 seconds, so make sure you have a little bit of space. 3, 2, here we go. So I'm going to step forwards and then step backwards. Try not to stop in the middle. Yes. But of course, if you need to, stopping in the middle is going to make this easier. But if you think about taking big steps when you walk, you want this continuous motion. This is also challenging balance as well. Balance is required if you want to start taking bigger steps instead of taking smaller ones. Keep the knee soft and relaxed. And stop. Same thing, other side. So now you're standing on that left, stepping forward, and then backwards. So the bigger step you take, the harder this will be to handle the range of motion as a balance. 5 seconds. 3, 2, here we go. So stand on the left, and then you're stepping forwards and back, all in one motion. Yes. This is one of my favorite movements because it really helps to work on shifting your weight because you're on a period of time. Helps to gain more confidence taking bigger steps, one of the things that happens when you're hesitant about walking or hesitant about balance is you start to take small steps, maybe sometimes even just shuffling forwards. So starting to gain the confidence here is very helpful. 3, 2, and 1. Now we're going to do an alternating standing down climber. So essentially this is a march and a reach alternating, where you're doing opposite arm, opposite leg. Opposite arm, opposite leg. 3, 2, here we go. Opposite arm, opposite leg. Yes. Working on coordination a little bit as well. The higher you lift, the harder this will be because you'll spend more time on one side. If you have pain lifting up your leg, you can bring back that heel lift that we were doing, or just lift your leg off the ground slightly. If you're feeling ambitious today, try to lift your leg so it's parallel with the floor. 10 seconds. March and reach. 3, 2, and 1.
Good.
Alright, now we're going to alternate side stepping. So I'm going to step with my left, reach with my left. Step with my right, reach with my right. So it's a step and a diagonal reach. We will start by stepping out to the right. Here we go. Step out and reach. Yes. Step out and reach. Now we're getting into some of the alternating movements. This forces you to be able to quickly shift your weight side to side. Another thing that's very important for walking. If you find yourself hesitant here, maybe slowing down like some of the other movements, practicing shifting your weight side to side, or quickly shifting your weight can help to really improve your walking. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We have 3 movements left. Now these are going to be a little bit more of a cool down. So this first one, you're just going to lift your toes off the ground.
I have a problem.
Now, if you need to, you can lean up against a wall and do it, or you can just hold on to something and lift your toes that way. But we're just going to lift the toes off the floor. Go ahead and start. Yes. Even if you can just lift them a little bit, essentially what we're trying to do is activate your shin muscle. Your shin muscle is important as you're walking to help lift your foot up. So if you feel your foot dragging sometimes, this could be a reason why. Some weakness there. It is a hard movement though. It does challenge balance because now you're kind of swaying sideways or forwards and backwards. 3, 2, and 1. Alright. Now the next one we're going to essentially now do the opposite. Now you're going to lift your heels. Now again, if you want to hold on to something to get a little bit more height, you can. If you want to challenge balance, you can go freely. You make sure you have something for support. Here we go. Try to lift your heels now. Now lifting your heels is also important to gain this strength because as you're walking, you're pushing off with your calf muscles, the muscles in the backs of your lower legs. So you want to make sure that those are working as well. There's about 15 seconds before we round out.
Allysa Kuhn channel on YouTube.
Excellent work. 10 seconds.
Kuhn or Khan, I don't know how
2,
to
and 1.
read it.
Last movement is actually the movement we started with.
Surname.
And we're simply just shifting weight, lifting one heel and then the other. We're going to go in about 10 seconds, and for this one I want you to try to control your breathing. If you found your heart rate elevated, try to take some deep breaths through this movement as we finish out. And go ahead, last 40 seconds. Both sets of toes are staying on the floor, but you're essentially just lifting one heel and then the other. Excellent. Focus on your breathing as you lift one heel and the other, those knees are going to bend slightly. And you want to try to keep your chest level. So try not to have a lot of side-to-side motion with this. 5, 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. Okay, if you enjoyed this workout and are looking for more,
Yes, I enjoy it.
4 days.
I like
Just
your
start your arthritis
videos.
challenge. That will
Thank
give you
you,
4 following
Alice.
along workouts, very similar.
Okay, I finished 20 minutes workout. She has a very different videos for people with disability, with problems with legs and joints and muscles and balance during walking. Yes, and it's ideal for me, and I think so that if you have the same problems and the same possibilities like me, that you can stand but you have a problem with balance, this channel is for you. Thanks for watching.